Today is March 17th, 2002, and this week there were 72 cases reported in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, which is a 47% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, we have decided that we are comfortable to not be wearing masks. My name is Campbell van Rooyen. I'm a white South African. I wear a cap a lot of the time, and you'll always see me in shorts and a shirt.
My name is Esther Monahan. I'm a biracial female. I have black curly hair and usually I'm wearing like a cute top and some jeans.
So Esther, tell me, where's home for you? Where are you from?
I'm from a small town called Brevard, which is like 45 minutes from Asheville, North Carolina.
And were you born there?
I was born in Asheville, so close enough.
Okay. And I'm assuming you lived there your whole life, grew up there, went to school there. What was that like?
It was interesting. It was a small town, so it was a lot of small town feel. There wasn't much to do, so growing up, Target was like the big fun event of the week. But it was good. It was, I would say, a good place to grow up. You know, there wasn't a lot of crime and things going on. I learned a lot about nature because it's in the middle of the mountains, so yeah.
And is family close by there, or is it just you and your direct family?
It's mostly my direct family and then one side of my grandparents. But the rest of my family lives closer to Charlotte and the Durham area.
So would you say that, I wouldn't say a fair
Learned much that year because it was all online school and no one really pays attention when it's online. So that year was just mostly growth for me. Coming into college, it was really stressful actually, trying to like figure out how to apply for college and all that stuff, and like trying to access the counselors at the high school. It was just crazy. So, yeah.
So during that time, were your family at home or were you kind of home alone?
It was a mix of both. So at that time, I think my mom, at that time she worked for a college. So she was like home part of the time and then they were also shut down. So then she was home like all day long. And so, yeah, it was definitely a mix of both.
And how was it? Like, were you used to spending that much time with family? Did
Yeah.
you like alone time a bit more? Like, how was it? More of the positives you brought out of COVID were?
Yeah, I definitely feel like even though COVID was such a long, drawn out, like really heavy thing for everyone, there were some positives. One, getting closer to my family, that was a great positive. I feel like I also grew a lot during COVID. I had a lot of time to mature and think about different things of my life that I wanted to change. Um, yeah, and also just working on not being so introverted. Like I was pretty introverted before going into COVID, and now that it's over, I'm not as introverted. So, yeah.
And were there maybe some negatives that you still maybe now dealing with from COVID?
Definitely. During COVID, social media was like a big thing because that was the only way to communicate with people. So I definitely still feel like I use social media too much or rely on it too much to tell me what's going on in the world or what my friends are doing. So I've actually been trying to take like a day or two to like not be on social media at all and just kind of get back to where I was pre-COVID and not being on my phone so much.
Did you pick up any hobbies during COVID?
Um, I don't think so. I'm sure I picked up some like random ones at the time that were really odd, but I don't remember them. I mostly just focused on playing tennis when I could and yeah, hanging out with my family.
I mean, tennis is quite an individual sport, but on the other hand, it's not really an individual sport because you can't do it alone. So in that case, how did that affect you?
Yeah, so I played against a wall a lot. It was frustrating at times. But yeah, and then just mostly coaching or having individual lessons with my coach because we both would get tested and things like that. So it was fine. But yeah, not much interaction with other people besides that.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that led to you playing tennis more or less?
During COVID?
Yeah.
I definitely played less during COVID because just like the whole quarantine thing, not going outside as much and like being around other people. So, yeah.
And do you still play tennis or do you still, and if you do, to what extent?
Yeah, so I'm not on the team here at school, but I do still occasionally try and get out there and play with like some of the girls on the team or some friends that are interested in tennis. But it's not as much as before. I used to train like 4 hours a day, every day back home, which is like really annoying that I can't do that here. It's like, I don't know, I miss it a lot. And it used to be like an everyday part of my routine. And so it's been a big change, but that's okay.
Do you think COVID might have been one of the reasons of that change?
Not necessarily. It's more the moving to Charlotte and getting into school and just being busy with college, that's all.
In what ways do you think COVID will change things for the future?
I definitely feel like people nowadays are more aware of who they're surrounding themselves with. So, yeah.
And obviously, COVID is still around. What is your view on COVID currently?
Yeah, I don't hear about it as much nowadays. Like, it's kind of like when the flu first came out and everyone was freaking out about that, and now it's died down and it's just like, oh, you have the flu. I feel like it's starting to become like that. Like, oh, you just have COVID. Like, yeah. And
did you or anyone you know contract COVID?
I never had COVID, surprisingly. But my sister and my mom had COVID like probably last year. So they got it a little bit later than when it was at the peak.
And did they get it from each other, do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I was at school and they got it over Christmas, so maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that COVID is like coming towards its like back end, hopefully, what do you still see that are things that people are struggling with?
I guess getting back out there and being social. It's hard to do that when you've been quarantined for a long time. So social interactions, that's all I can think of at the moment. I mean, there's a lot more, but that's a big one. And
obviously you mentioned you have got both your grandparents. Was that a big worry for you with COVID being around?
Yeah, it definitely was. My grandparents are a big part of my life, and so it was really important to me that they were safe and stayed inside and away from everyone that could possibly give them COVID. But yeah.
And did they listen to that request?
They did all right. I'm not going to lie. They did okay. So yeah, they never got COVID, which was great.
Do you think that because you had that understanding that your grandparents were at a higher risk, you maybe approached COVID in a different way, whereas if someone said we need to wear masks, you wore masks, or do you not think that influenced the way you reacted to COVID?
It did, yeah. Obviously older people have a higher risk for catching any type of illness. But, I thought of it in the way of like, okay, if I'm going to go out in public, I'm going to be around someone else's parents that might have a compromised immune system or someone's grandparents. So it's just coming down to like having respect for them. So, yeah.
So when people say, hey, no, I'm not going to wear masks, you're like, that's silly because you understand that there are people that are at risk.
Right, yeah. Not to say it's selfish, but it is a little bit selfish. Like if there's someone around that is at a higher risk for having COVID and you decide not to wear a mask just because you don't want to, it's that's selfish.
I understand that. And then what was your daily routine during COVID? I know some people really slept in and some people stayed up late. Was that you or like what are you doing?
I did a little bit of both, yeah.
Okay.
I definitely slept in way too much. And I stayed up late too much, obviously. But, my daily routine was more of getting up, hanging out with family, going on walks. We tried to get outside as much as we could, but like away from people. We did a lot of gardening, which was interesting.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then, showering. I learned how to cook a lot, which was cool. My mom's a really great cook, so she shared a lot of recipes with me.
And do you think now you are cooking more thanks to that time you got to spend with your mom?
Since I've been in college, I haven't really cooked a lot, but I am starting to utilize the kitchens in some of the dorms and using some of her recipes that she has. So, yeah, maybe.
And with you having different descents of people from different countries, do you still know like how it affected their countries? Like, did your grandparents, for instance, keep up to date with how the COVID was affecting Scotland and Ireland?
I'm not really sure. I didn't really ask them too much about that. They probably did because that's a big part of enjoying my time outside more instead of just being like, oh, I have to be outside gardening. Like, like really enjoy the time and also enjoy the time that I got to spend with my family and not take it for granted.
Yeah. And you mentioned that the beginning of COVID was over this time where you were choosing where to go to college and all of that stuff. Do you think COVID had any influence on what you chose to study?
No, I've always wanted to study interior architecture, so I was pretty set on that. But yeah, it had no effect on it.
And do you think the fact that you went into college during COVID, that it was close to home, that kind of helped maybe push the decision to go to Queen's? Because if there was an emergency, they can't stop. Get the opportunity and family get the opportunity to visit you a bit more? Do you think that was also maybe an aspect that helped you choose Queen's?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, both my sisters are also in college, so they're really busy with what they do. And we usually just all end up at home at the same time. But
okay.
Yeah.
Do they go to university close by or are they further away?
Yeah, so my middle sister goes to university in Brevard, actually, where we're from. And my older sister, she did go to App State, but she's now in medical school in Missouri, so really far away.
Okay. And when did she go to medical school?
She recently started medical school in the past year.
Do you think COVID had an influence on that decision? Or do you think she always wanted to go into medicine?
I mean, she always wanted to go into medicine. She's been studying it forever. Like, I don't even remember when she started school because I was really young. And so, yeah, I think that's why she chose it. But COVID probably did have an impact on what she decided to do. Like, I'm sure that going through COVID, she was like, okay, maybe this really is for me. Like, I really enjoy, school, and I want to figure out what's going on with people and COVID and how to solve the issue.
Then for your first semester of college, was that completely on person or was that on campus?
I believe it was completely in person with mask mandation. It was fine. It was all right. So, yeah.
Do you feel like you missed a little bit with it being like that?
Yes, there were a lot of events that were canceled because of COVID, or some events that would be scheduled and then canceled, so you kind of get your hopes up. So I definitely missed out on like different events that were going on in the school because basically everything was shut down. It was just classes and getting lunch and food and stuff like that.
And for your first semester, did you have any virtual classes that were Ring Central or Zoom?
I don't think so. No.
Have you had any of those since then?
Mm-hmm.
How are those?
They're okay. It reminds me a lot of high school, because it's online and you just
Mm-hmm.
kind of sit there and listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right.
You mentioned listening.
Yes.
Were you one of the people who maybe didn't have their camera on and maybe didn't really focus on school? Do you think that affected you a bit?
I was one of the people that maybe didn't have their camera on, but I'd still be listening and interacting and participating. But it's definitely different. I mean, you're not in a classroom, so you don't have to, do any of that.
Do you think that during this time you didn't learn as much as if the classes had been in person?
Definitely, yeah. I'm a big hands-on person, so I do learn better, like sitting in a classroom and doing the work with other people and things like that.
So, for you in your field, do you think your future will be affected by COVID, just in your field of study?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like also the way that people design, we're starting to design more for, if there was another pandemic, like spaces and how they can be utilized for different things if need be.
And are you excited that this kind of difference has come in, this new way of looking at things has come in?
I feel like it's a good way, like, I don't know. It's all right. Like, it's cool. Wait, can you ask the question again? Sorry.
So do you like that there's now something maybe different to include when you're looking at design?
Yeah, I think it's good to have diversity and different ways of designing. Because if we just keep designing the same and, we're not really going to keep up with the time and how things are going.
Are there any other stories that you would like to talk about that we haven't discussed, or anything else that you would think would be good for us to mention?
No, I think you did a really well job. Good job.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Of course.